Hello YouTube, Maverick here. Hey, today I've got a great video for you guys going over trading psychology, as well as the reason why many traders struggle with discipline in their trading journey. I've got a great study that we're going to go over and do a deep dive in that goes into exactly what's going on in your head, as well as some tips and tricks that you can use going forward with your trading that I think will really help you. So stick around. I think this is one of the best videos that I've ever made, and I want to thank you all for commenting and posting and liking and subscribing on my first two videos. You've really pumped me up and got me going to keep making videos like this. And I hope you find some value in this. If you do, please like and subscribe, and that will really keep me going on more videos. So let's dive into this. This is a tough subject for some people. First, we've got a quick risk disclosure. Trading is very dangerous. Trading futures especially is very dangerous. They'll rip your face off, take everything you've got, and they won't even send you an email on your birthday. So just be very careful with this, and you have to understand what we're about to go over in detail before you even begin to think you want to become a trader. So we all came into the world looking somewhat like this. Cute little baby, but guess what? None of us have any discipline when we're born. This little baby used to pee all over himself, couldn't keep food down his mouth. I mean, just a complete mess. And over the years, this little baby developed discipline to turn into this guy. So discipline is something that none of us are born with, and it's developed over the years through experience and different things like that. So don't beat yourself up if you struggle with discipline, because it's not something that comes to us naturally. It's something that we learn throughout our experiences and things like that. Oftentimes, traders get into this through technical analysis. They'll watch a video, they'll start learning how to do technical analysis, and in my opinion, they're doing it backwards. In order to become a competent, successful, and consistent trader, your journey should look something like this. You first need to understand yourself and risk management. Then you need to understand the markets that you trade, and then you can get into the technical analysis. And let's dive a little bit farther into this. Understanding yourself means understanding what is your goal in trading. Are you trying to augment your income? Are you trying to replace your income? Obviously, money is somewhere in there. So you just need to really be honest with yourself and understand what your goals are. Then you need to really understand risk management. Risk management goes into a lot of the things that we're going to discuss in this video, but there's way more to it, and it's a complicated subject, and it's very personal, based on yourself, your money, your goals, etc. But we're going to kind of scratch the surface here in this video. Then you need to understand the market you trade. If you're trading, let's say NQ, that's a futures contract of an equity index that's comprised of multiple stocks. If you're trading NQ and you don't know what the weights are of the top 5 companies in the NQ, you need to step back and just basically understand what you're learning, what you're trading, and that's going to help you immensely. If you're trading futures, you should understand what a COT report is. That's the Commitment of Traders report. That will help understand and define who the key players are in the market that you're playing with. Then, and only then, can you get into technical analysis. So in my opinion, if you learn technical analysis too soon without understanding yourself and risk management, that's toxic knowledge, and it's going to burn you in the long run. Let's jump into one of my favorite and most insightful studies that I've ever come across pretty much in my entire life that applies directly to what we're doing. Some of you have heard me talk about this before, but we're going to dive into this experiment, and there's a link down below of this exact experiment. And please take the time to read this if you're a trader, because this is really going to help you understand yourself and the psychology behind some of the decisions we make. It's called Lessons from Betting on a Biased Coin, Cool Heads and Cautionary Tales. And what this was an experiment conducted, I believe, at the University of Chicago. There were 61 participants, and they were given a laptop with a simulated coin flipping experiment on the laptop. They were told they were going to be paid out in cash at the end of the experiment, and they had 30 minutes to flip this hypothetical coin on the app and bet anywhere between $1 or $0 and $25 their full starting capital. They had 30 minutes to do this, which is approximately 300 coin flips. Well, the sample consisted largely of college-age students in economics and finance, young professionals, and they had 14 analysts at an associate level doing this experiment. Now remember, they were told that the coin had a 60% chance of landing on heads and a 40% chance of coming up on tails. Let's dive into how these participants did at the end of the 30 minutes. Well, the majority of these participants, well, not the majority, but over 25% of them went bust. And down and out, down but not out, there's about 5%, and then a poor showing. So the majority of the participants did not capitalize on this experience, knowing that they had a 60% chance of landing on heads. What's even most interesting about this experiment is some of the participants even began to bet on the 40% side of the coin, meaning that they knew that they had a 40% chance of winning and they still continued to bet the wrong side of the coin. So please read the experiment below. It's just the most fascinating thing that's going to apply directly to your trading. And let's go over the conclusion. Ed Thorpe is a guy I have a lot of respect for. He was a mathematics guy out of UCLA that basically came up with card counting, wrote many books on this, and then moved into the financial markets. He said this is a great experiment for many reasons. It ought to become part of the basic education of anyone interested in finance or gambling. And if you don't think trading futures on a day-to-day basis is gambling, it's 100% gambling. But it's a gambling form where you can create an edge in your favor. And if you use the correct position sizing and stick to your plan and have an edge, you will be successful. Few understand this, and that's why a lot of people fall by the wayside. While we did expect to observe poorly conceived betting strategies from our subjects, we were surprised by the fact that 28% of our subjects went bust betting on a coin that they were told was biased to come up heads 60% of the time. Before this experiment, we did not appreciate just how ill-equipped so many people are to appreciate or take advantage of a simple, advantageous opportunity in the presence of uncertainty. The straightforward notion of taking a constant and moderate amount of risk and letting the odd work in one's favor just doesn't seem obvious to most people. Given that many of our subjects received formal training in finance, we were surprised that the Kelly Criterion was virtually unknown and they didn't seem to possess the analytical toolkit to lead them to constant proportional betting as intuitive, appealing heuristics. Without Kelly-like framework to rely upon, we found that our subjects exhibited a menu of widely documented behavioral biases such as illusions of control, anchoring, overbetting, sunk cost bias, and gambler's fallacy. And I see this come up all the time in some of the people I network with that we trade with in my group and stuff like that. This is a very common theme and it applies to all of us, and we just need to be aware of this. Kelly Criterion is a mathematical formula to calculate your bet size based on your available bankroll, considering your probability of success. We'll get into more about the Kelly Criterion in a little bit, but what I found very most interesting was when I went to Wikipedia to look up Kelly Criterion to find a slide for you guys. They even mentioned this coin flipping experiment on the Wikipedia page for the Kelly Criterion. So using the Kelly Criterion based on the odds of this experiment, ignoring the cap of 250 and the finite duration of the test, the right approach would be to bet 20% of one's bankroll on each toss of the coin, which works out to an average of about 2% average gain for each round. This is the geometric mean, not the algorithmic rate of 4%. The theoretical expected wealth after 300 rounds works out to be about $10,000 if it were not capped. So what they're basically saying is that you can use the Kelly Criterion if you know what your probability of success is to base your position sizing on that. Now, trading is nothing more than this. Kelly Criterion might be difficult for new traders to use because they don't have the actual statistical relevant data to know what their win percentage is. But an easy way that you can do this is to understand the expected value calculation. And the expected value is the expected future value of given events based on the probability of those events. It's very easy to calculate. The expected value is nothing more than the probability of you winning times the amount you win, plus the probability of the loss times the amount of the loss. In this example, we have a coin flip. It's 50-50. The expected value is 0.5 times $25 plus 0.5 times negative $25. That expected value is 0. With a coin flip where the coin is 60-40 and you get even money, the expected value of a win is 0.6 times $25 plus 0.4 times negative $25, which would be 15 plus negative 10, an expected value of $5 per coin flip. Now, you're never going to make $5 per coin flip because you're betting 25 a flip. But at the end of the day, if you add up all your results, you should be up about $5 per flip because that is the expected value. Trading is nothing more than that. Your trade setups do not matter. Your technical analysis does not matter. What matters is, do you have a positive expected value on the trade? Meaning, is your win percentage greater than 50% or at 50%? And if it is at 50%, you need your risk to return ratio to be greater than 1-to-1. Just like in this example, you need a return or a win percentage greater than 50-50, and that will create the recipe to success. For example, this is a winning recipe. This is my trade setup for my trade signals that I give out in my trading room for the NQ futures contracts. We win at a rate of 61%. The average winning trade is $211. This is with 1 to 2 micros or 2 micros. And the average losing trade is $184. So the average profitability per trade is $27. Now, it doesn't seem like much, but let's say you have 20 accounts like I do across Apex, and you trade 1 to 2 micros on each trade, and you're making $27 a trade, and you have 1.6 on average trades a day. That would be let's say $25 to make it even. That would be $500 a trade, your average profitability per trade. And you can use this data to correctly size your positions. So I know if I have a winning trade percentage of 61%, I can easily apply the Kelly Criterion to that and find my position size. I trade at 3/4 Kelly, which would mean instead of risking the 20% of my account, I risk slightly less than that. Basically 3/4 Kelly. You can do half Kelly, you can do quarter Kelly, or you can do full Kelly. Full Kelly would be 20%. So these are my trade results, statistically relevant data, and I use this statistically relevant data to size my positions accordingly. Here's some tips that you need to know. Using Kelly may be difficult without a defined edge. Now, what I mean by that is without knowing what your actual edge is, let's say if you're just assuming that you win 60% of the time and you go bet 20% of your account, that could end very poorly. One thing I would recommend for all traders is set a daily loss limit proportional to your account. And again, that goes back to your own personal parameters and things like that. But you need to have a daily loss limit that's set and you need to stick to it. I always set a daily lockout when my loss limit is hit in my trading account. Most trading accounts have that availability. If you need help with that, reach out, leave a comment below. I can tell you how to do it in each of your particular accounts, but you want to set a daily lockout when your loss limit is hit. And do not change your daily loss limit intraday. Meaning if you start out and say, listen, the most I'm going to lose on my accounts is $300 or 150 points on the MNQ, don't change it. Stick to that. If you're a new trader, set a daily win goal as a stop too. Meaning that if you get up X amount, stop. Don't give it back if you're a new trader. But also don't make your daily goal a win goal. This is destructive. I see too many traders that set a daily win goal. You're not going to win every day. I'm sorry to break it to you. That's not how trading works. You're going to have wins, you're going to have losses, and you're going to have consecutive losses. And when you make your daily goal a win goal, you're just setting yourself up for failure. And remember, success is setting attainable goals and reaching them. When you set a goal that you can't attain every day, you won't be successful. So set a daily loss limit as your goal and stick to that. If you win, great. If you lose, don't lose more than that, because if you bury yourself, you won't be able to get out. Now, instead of using Kelly Criterion, the easy, simple way that I used early on was take your available risk capital and divide it by a number. That's your daily loss limit. Let's use the Apex 25K accounts. Let's just say you have $1,500 in available drawdown. Divide that by 15. Now you have 15 $100 units that you can use, and that will give you 15 days in a row of $100 in losses. Then, let's say on day one you lose $100. Now you have $1,400 left over. Divide the $1,400 by 15, and that'll give you, I think, around $92. I don't have the math off the top of my head. So on day two, now you can only lose $92. Now, if you lose on day two, take the $1,400 minus the $92 you lost. Now you have, what, $1,307? So take the $1,307 and divide that by 15. And you're constantly recalibrating your daily loss limit each morning based on your risk capital and personal risk tolerance. Remember, discipline leads to habits,